back, I fell down a Pokemon theory rabbit hole and had way too much fun going from website to website, reading through a bunch of Pokemon theories. So I decided, why not do the same thing I did a few years back today and just share my findings with you guys? And what better way to start off than 15 conspiracy theories that will give you chills? I'm sure this will not disappoint. Okay, wow, we are starting heavy. I actually do know this one because he has the Radicate, and then you go to Lavender Tower and he's there and he's like, hey, you. He doesn't have the Radicate anymore, so people have come up with a theory that the Radicate might have died. But I don't understand why Radicate was the only one that didn't make it to the Pokemon Center and healing. I don't know if I'm buying it. I think Gary just said, I don't need you, Radicate. You're bad at the battling thing, and I need things to be better at the battling thing, because this little kid keeps destroying my team, and I'm Gary. N is a Zoroark. Many believe that N is not actually a human, but instead the Pokemon Zoroark in disguise, and there's a surprising amount of evidence to support this idea. As well as him looking a little like the Pokemon, there are several instances in the game where players encounter a Zoroark shortly before or after meeting N. There's even a point where interacting with Zoroark triggers a flashback in N, which at the very least suggests that there's a very strong bond between them. Who is Zoroark copying to look like N? N could be a Zoroark, but then there has to be an N that is an N. So I don't understand. Who is the other person who's not the Zoroark? Now I have more questions and zero answers. I don't know about this one. Wobbuffet is just a tail. Well, yeah, the Pokemon's based on a punching bag and the tail has eyes. I don't know if that's a theory. That actually just might be real. What? How is this only number 10? In one particular scene in the first episode, Pikachu shocks Ash and a herd of Spearows to save them both from getting attacked. But in this theory, following Ash getting hurt, he actually dies? This theory would make sense for several reasons. Firstly, it would justify why Ash does not age in the show. He stays 10 years old for the entirety of it. It also makes sense because Ash is always asking questions and being very forgetful when it comes to basic Pokemon knowledge. Or he's just dumb.
So, Misty, your hair isn't purple.
I don't understand this one at all. What a wild theory. Who came up with this? Okay, finally. This one makes a lot of sense and is less ridiculous. This theory states that Ditto was a failed attempt by scientists to try to make a clone of the legendary Pokemon Mew. It is stated in the theory that Ditto was made right before infamous Mewtwo. There's several reasons that people think that this is plausible. Firstly, they're very similar in color, and then they also have the same shiny forms. They also weigh the same amount, which is actually crazy. Another piece of evidence is that both Mew and Ditto are the only Pokemon that learn the move Transform. This is one of the theories that actually got me to fall in love with Pokemon theories, because you can't tell me this isn't true. I mean, it just would make perfect sense that this is why Ditto exists. I mean, right now, Ditto is a Pokemon used for breeding. I mean, that's what you use Ditto for normally, but there were no eggs. There was no breeding in Gen 1. I don't know. I think this is a really cool, and this is really why I love Pokemon theories. Mimikyu are dead Pichu. Mimikyu are just Pichu that passed away before becoming a Pikachu, and now that it's moved on, it still wants to evolve. The evidence to back this theory up is that Mimikyu is a ghost fairy type for the deceased Pichu. Mimikyu also knows the move Thunderbolt and shares multiple moves with Pichu, making the theory make more sense than it should. I just thought Mimikyu was an ugly Pokemon that wanted to look like the mascot, so had the costume on, but I guess that doesn't really explain the ghost typing. I don't know how to feel about it. Ash's dad is Ryan Reynolds. I don't need to read anything more. That's Ryan Reynolds.
Pika Pika.
Cubone is originally a baby Kangaskhan. This is one that I believed so wholeheartedly. And then we got Mega Kangaskhan, and the little baby jumped out of the pouch, and it doesn't look exactly like Cubone, but I definitely loved this theory a lot more before we got Mega Kangaskhan. Ooh, I have never heard this one before. In the Pokemon world, there are many Pokemon that need to be traded in order to evolve into their final form. Haunter to Gengar, Machoke to Machamp, etc. Machamp, one of my favorite Pokemon ever. With that in mind, many players have found themselves wondering how exactly Pokemon like Gengar show up in the wild. Where do you find Gengar in the wild? As far as anyone knows, Pokemon like Gengar and Machamp can't evolve without first being traded. This means that the trainer of any wild form Pokemon has either released the Pokemon or that trainer has passed away. This is just kind of like a 1 + 1 = 2, like, oh wow, you have to trade to get a Machamp, so if you find a Machamp in the wild, someone had to trade for this Pokemon and no longer have it anymore. Number one better knock my socks off, okay? Oh, that's sad. In Phantom's Pokedex entry, it states, these Pokemon are spirits of children who have gotten lost in the forest. While it's very sad to think about, it's also highly possible that Phantom really are just the ghosts of dead children who got lost and probably died afraid and lonely. What is this? So it's possible to hatch Phantom from eggs. Many consider the Pokedex entry to be proof enough, making it one of the several Pokemon to share a connection with missing or dead children. Who was allowed to create Phantom? I have a lot of questions for you, and I'm very worried. Oh no. The 10 most ridiculous fan theories that people actually believed. Well, this might be laughing at my past self, so let's make fun of me, I guess. Silver is Maxi's father. Silver is the rival in Gold and Silver and is the son of Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket. The theory states that Maxi grew up and joined Team Rocket under his grandfather Giovanni. Archie is also thought to be a member of Team Rocket, as it is stated that Maxi and Archie used to be on the same team. The theory goes on to say that Silver's teachings cause Maxi's intense paranoia later in life. Archie becomes so paranoid that he leaves Team Rocket and travels to the Hoenn region to form Team Magma. This one makes more sense than anyone trying to tell me that Mikey would go to a different region to form a ridiculous team called Team Sky without a plan.
Team Sky's goal is to use Rayquaza to expand the sky, whatever that means.
Haunter killed Misty? What are these theories? Many of Haunter's Pokedex entries describe its tongue as a lethal weapon that causes the demise of anyone licked by Haunter. In an episode of the television series, Misty is licked by a Haunter. It's not really much of a theory, it's just poking holes in the Pokemon anime. Like, hey, you very much forgot about this Pokedex entry. But there's also multiple Pokedex entries that's like, if the one for Magcargo is real, the world would not exist because it would just melt. The player is the rival in Pokemon Red/Blue. Oh, it's the Radicate Theory. And like, we are the bad guys and Gary's the good guy. But Gary's always saying, smell you later. Here we go. I actually made a video on this theory way back in the day. I don't think you can find the video on YouTube, so don't even go looking, but I really, really love this one. This theory is largely relying on the physical similarities between these Pokemon. They do look strikingly similar, and Gengar is described as the shadow Pokemon. Additionally, Clefable and Gengar were immune to each other's attacks due to their normal and ghost typing. Gengar is also named after a doppelganger. This conspiracy is most likely coincidence, though some believers point to Clefairy. Clefable's pre-evolution is proof. Clefairy was originally meant to be the mascot of the franchise before Pikachu. Some believe that this indicates that Gengar was originally supposed to be an antagonist. This one, I believe 100%. I mean, they really are like the same Pokemon. Gengar is so clearly the shadow of it. And obviously now that Clefable is a fairy type, it's not really the same as it once was and as exciting. But I believe this so fully that, I mean, again, I made an entire video on it. This one is true, okay? Mew is under the truck in Pokemon Red/Blue. Possibly the most famous of all Pokemon fan theories, this myth was spread around playgrounds all across the globe when Pokemon Red and Blue were first released. Hopeful young trainers would approach the strange truck near the SS Anne and attempt every button combination imaginable, all with the hope of finding Mew underneath. Since the original games, Nintendo has included a rare item underneath the truck in re-releases. Unfortunately, Mew cannot be captured that easily. I don't really get how this theory got as popular as it did. I mean, I'm just so used to the internet and texting and like all these different things where you can easily start a rumor and it spreads like wildfire. But I guess this one couldn't really be easily disproved because you couldn't just go look up whether or not you could actually find Mew. It was word of mouth and then you'd go and try. This one's pretty funny. Number one, let's see it. Oh. Ooh, okay. Might be true. Humans are evolved or de-evolved Pokemon. Pokemon and humans have a tight relationship, though some think this goes beyond a mere friendship. I don't like where that's going one bit.
We're looking for thick Gardevoir.
Ash's father is not dead or divorced. He is simply a dedicated trainer. That is the nicest way to say he's a deadbeat dad who left and never came back. And why are they using a picture of Ash smiling? What is happening here? In the original anime's trivia books, it's mentioned that Delilah's husband is a Pokemon trainer who left shortly after Ash was born because he just had to be the very best?
When's daddy coming home, you know? Who needs him?
This one is a lot happier. Let's go with this. A carryover from the previous theories that Ash's father is being saved for a big moment. Since he's a Pokemon trainer as well and Ash is busy climbing the ranks, it actually makes a lot of sense that the grand finale of the Pokemon saga isn't a clash with Team Rocket, but a duel between father and son. Pokemon is pretty coy about Ash's father, only giving him passing mentions at best. The most exposure Ash's father got was in a novelization of Pokemon the movie Secrets of the Jungle, where Ash quotes some advice his father gave long ago. This enabled the speculation that Ash's father will be introduced at some point, but only at a climactic moment in Ash's story. I really love this theory, and it genuinely makes me a little sad. If this is going to be true, it could really only be true at the end of Pokemon or the end of the Pokemon anime with Ash as the main character. That'd be pretty crazy. That would be an unreal moment in the anime or a video game, man. That would be crazy. Ho-Oh made Ash forever young. One of the most most enduring jokes about Pokemon is that Ash has been 10 years old for the better part of 30 years. The anime's countless reboots and timelines aside, Ash's apparent immortality has gone unexplained in the universe, but the franchise's first episode could hold the answer. I love where this is going. Here, Ash sees a Ho-Oh fly overhead on his first day as a trainer. Side note, maybe my favorite thing in any of the Pokemon anime episodes. Seeing Ho-Oh, a legendary from the second game, years and years before those games would ever become a reality, was one of the freaking coolest things. The legendary Pokemon is said to grant wishes, leading many to guess that Ash wished that his adventures would never end, and so Ho-Oh granted him eternal youth. Whether he wished this subconsciously or not, Ash's supposed desire came true, and even decades after the anime's start, he has yet to escape the age of 10. So Ho-Oh cursed this young boy who doesn't know anything about the world to remain a 10-year-old, and that's why he doesn't age and barely ever learns anything about Pokemon? That's a curse, not a blessing. 25 classic Pokemon fan theories we can't believe are true. Number 25 is Ditto was a failed attempt at making Mew. I'm feeling pretty good about this website. That's a pretty crazy photo, and this is something I believe completely. Gengar's Clefable Shadow. It really is. I have never heard this theory before. Team Rocket created Wheezing and Coughing. Coughing is the first form of this Pokemon and appears to always be happy with a smile on its face. However, Wheezing appears to always be in pain and has two consciousnesses. Many fans believe that this Pokemon was a failed attempt by Team Rocket to create a gaseous form of a ghost-type Pokemon. Instead, it appears that Team Rocket just created a big toxic balloon. According to AminoApps.com, a very reliable source of information, the skull and crossbones on the Pokemon are a big indicator that they were man-made, since they are a human symbol typically reserved for warning others of danger. That makes a lot of sense. I've never seen this theory before. The Afterlife can create Pokemon. Okay. Ghost-type Pokemon have always been a bit of a mystery because as humans, the only way that a ghost is created is when someone passes away. However, some answers were given to fans by the series when Yamask was introduced in the 5th generation of Pokemon games. Yamask is basically a lifeless human who carries around a mask of the face it had as a human. This Pokemon is also known to cry when it's reminiscing on its human life. Some believe that the aspect of Pokemon passing was just avoided by creators. So the creators thought it would be more acceptable if humans were dying in the Pokemon game and then they became Pokemon than Pokemon dying and becoming Pokemon. This also means that humans are more connected to Pokemon than you would imagine.
Thick Gardevoir.
How is this number 18? It would not shock me one way or the other if Jesse and James were dating. Floette was supposed to be released earlier. I love this theory. I was a Pokemon YouTuber back when Oris came out, so I still remember how exciting and crazy it was when people found AZ's Floette in like the code, or maybe it was an X and Y. AZ's Floette is a usable Pokemon, like in the code of, you know, one of those games. And it's never been released. It's never been something you can actually use like normally in the games, but people have been able to get it like in randomizers. You can use AZ's Floette. AZ is a character that is encountered a number of times in Pokemon X and Y. He is one of the ancient kings of the Kalos region who lost his beloved Pokemon Floette. AZ's Floette is a different color than all of the other ones. The special color of AZ's Floette led many fans to believe it would be released to the public during a special event. Fans were able to go through the files of Pokemon X and Y and discovered that this Pokemon was actually programmed into the game. And in Pokemon Oris, at the end of the game, under like a tree in like the final town, or just somewhere in the end game, I'm really bad with the names of these towns, you can actually see the AZ Floette flower. Ooh, Professor Oak was supposed to be the final challenge. I feel like this one's been proven to be correct, but this is a really, really cool one that I've always loved. In the Pokemon manga, it is confirmed that Professor Oak was the champion of the Kanto region at some point. I actually didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Trainers can encounter Professor Oak. He has a pretty powerful team. The biggest piece of evidence to support this theory is the fact that he goes into the Hall of Fame. In previous games, only the champion or former champion can enter the Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure there's like evidence in like some of the beta files or something that shows Professor Oak was supposed to be a final boss you could battle. And I'm pretty sure you can actually find the actual team he would have had. And it would be very, very cool to battle Professor Oak as like a post-game thing. Yes! Arcanine is a legendary and no one can tell me otherwise. Arcanine is considered a legendary Pokemon in the Pokedex, but not many people really understood why. One of the main pieces of evidence to support that Arcanine was initially going to be part of the legendary trio is that it has unusually high stats. However, according to most fans' findings, this Pokemon just made no sense for it to be included. Yeah, but it's very, very cool, and Moltres kind of just looks like a rubber chicken with flames. We are finally here. Years and years ago, I made my first viral video talking about how Venomoth and Butterfree's evolutions were mixed up. Venonat was supposed to evolve into Butterfree. Just look at the two Pokemon next to each other. And Metapod was supposed to evolve into Venomoth. Just look at those two Pokemon next to each other. After looking at both Butterfree and Venomoth, this theory does not come as a shock, as they both have very similar features. Some trainers believe that the similarities between the two is simply because the creators of the game and series had so many Pokemon to create. It is assumed that they were switched either on accident and left that way, or on purpose because the creators wanted to keep fans on their feet. It would be so cool if we got like some sort of regional forms in the future where Venonat evolved into a Butterfree looking Pokemon and then Metapod evolved into a Venomoth looking Pokemon. I think that would be really, really cool. And hopefully it happens someday. Mr. Fuji created Mewtwo. Mewtwo was an artificially created Pokemon that was built off of Mew's DNA. Of course, things go a bit awry when he is a lot more intelligent and human-like than they planned. He plans to take over the world and destroys the facility that he was created in. Video games never really addressed the question of who created Mewtwo, but it was revealed that Mr. Fuji had once lived on Cinnabar Island where he worked as a doctor. This fact led players to think he helped create Mewtwo. This theory was confirmed in the Pokemon Origins anime. That's pretty crazy. This is another one I love. I love the GS Ball. It is my favorite Pokeball of all time. I really want to get like a professionally made GS Ball at some point. I think it's so freaking cool. The Pokemon anime included a storyline that involved Ash having to travel to Orange Island in order to collect a mysterious Pokeball. Professor Oak was trying to get his hands on it. Eventually, Ash had to bring this ball to Kurt and Johto. Once he completed this task, the storyline was basically dropped. All of the fan theories regarding the GS ball were later put to rest when it was confirmed that Celebi was planned to be inside of this ball and it was supposed to become part of the series. However, this plan was canceled when it was decided that Celebi would star in its own movie. And I absolutely love and hate this. They made the single coolest Pokeball that was going to have a legendary Pokemon that was going to just be Ash's pal. And then they just were like, nah, this thing? No. I can't really throw it. No. Give me the GS Ball instead. The GS Ball would be so much cooler for a Master Ball. This doesn't shock me at all. I'm pretty sure Pokemon was only supposed to have 2 generations with Gen 1 and Gen 2, and then it was supposed to stop. So this makes sense. I mean, this is probably less of a theory, more Pokemon became way more popular than they could have ever expected. So of course they made more stuff. Yes, I love this. The mysterious Kanto badges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Many fans have questioned this photo because Gary appears to have 10 gym badges when there were only meant to be 8 in the Kanto region. However, most of the gym badges that Gary shows Ash seem to come from gyms that are not accounted for in the Kanto region. Ooh. Eventually, the video games and anime series confirmed that although each region could only possess 8 gyms, potential gyms could try to earn an official license by taking over the position from existing gyms. Does this mean there's like a G League of gyms? I have so many questions. Can I make a gym? I'll do it, I say. Dare me, triple dog dare me. See if I'll do it. How to catch Mew. Trainers can catch Mew as early as the 2nd gym in Pokemon Red and Blue because of this glitch. This glitch allows trainers to start the process of a battle but put it off until later. This in turn leads to an encounter with Mew. That's not true. Mew is actually under the truck in those games. Don't listen to the game. There is no glitch. Mew is found under the truck in these games. That's where you find Mew. We all know this. Ash's Pikachu had a name. It was named John. It was absolutely John. Ash is the main character in the anime. He oversleeps on the morning that is supposed to choose the starter. This results in Professor Oak giving him a Pikachu with an attitude problem before sending him off on his journey. Ash had a bit of a hard time getting his new Pokemon under control, but eventually the two of them form a strong bond. Ash keeps his Pikachu throughout his entire journey, despite acquiring new Pokemon along the way. Ash's Pikachu is actually called Jean-Luc? It is John! That's close enough. It is French John. The moment we've all been waiting for. Kabutops does evolve into Genesect. Kabuto Dex Entry. It is thought to have inhabited beaches 300 million years ago. Genesect Dex Entry. Over 300 million years ago, it was feared as the strongest of hunters. It has been modified by Team Plasma. Team Plasma, being a Unova-based organization, would not have known about a Pokemon formerly found in the Kanto region. Cover Kabutops with some purple armor and bam! Instant bug-looking creature. Ah! Wait!
This is not okay.
This is what I believe